Unless Ryan decides to keep this and make us look like idiots.
He probably will. Knowing Ryan, he probably will. Yeah. Oh my gosh, is that elk sausage? Where did that come from?
So yeah, I brought you guys some elk sausage. I hope you like it. It's an actual bull I killed out here in Oklahoma, down in the Wichitas. So
super stoked.
You need to let it thaw. It's obviously frozen, but it should be pretty good.
I brought a gift too.
What'd you bring?
Oh, these are some KK stickers.
Oh,
Have you seen
yes.
these? We need to put them everywhere.
That's hilarious. She'll go
You gotta tell the story with this, Jared.
Oh, we had a Christmas cards and some people didn't get to come because she had to work to our picture day. So we Photoshop people in and I accidentally forgot to put her in there. So instead of ordering all new cards, I just found a place I could buy 500 KK stickers. And my wife and I spent the weekend putting KK stickers on every card.
That's hilarious.
but we have a bunch extra, so now we just put them all over the place.
I feel like that's a really nice benefit to the whole situation. Is now you have a ton of these stickers. Yes.
She's gonna
got one in my water bottle now.
That is, I guess, the one commonality is we both employ Kaylin Killer.
That's what she said. All of my bosses are going to be in one room.
Oh, she's petrified now, for sure.
If anything happens to us, there's going to be one person they're going to go to right now. This place burns down. Yeah.
So what is it like specifically having to deal with Kaylin on a daily? I'm just kidding. This is exactly what she's afraid of.
Well, she talks a lot. I mean, she doesn't ever stop talking.
What? Gosh, it's my ear off.
I'd never noticed.
Thomas gets to work with her a lot because he's the manager here. She works out here now. So.
Oh, she is here?
Yeah. She's out at this. Is she there today?
She will be in 40 minutes.
Hope she doesn't find out I stole a energy drink.
Uh-oh. You mean trouble.
I have to call Kaylin and get her back here. Yeah. Lay down the law.
You guys probably keep track of revenue or inventory a lot better than we do. Our inventory isn't very good.
We try to.
That's good.
We definitely have a lot of inventory to keep track of.
Inventory is impossible.
If my wife didn't work here, we would be a whole lot worse at it. That's for sure. So the only way we've got a fighting chance is because she works back end here. So
do you guys actually do an inventory check like once a month or half a year or something like that?
We do. There's general like kind of checks and balances as we place orders or check certain things, or obviously if something shows up negative, that's not right. But we do one overhaul of inventory once a year, usually around this time of year. So we're waiting on Alyssa to tell us when we gotta stay late one night and do everything.
Gosh, yes.
Are you talking like Excel spreadsheet style?
Yes.
Wow.
Every single thing.
Yeah, we have thousands of things, so it's awful.
It takes like half a day.
Yeah. So I have been trying to cross my T's and dot my I's this year, and every time I see like a few things, the snack shelf, like the snacks and drinks are always the worst. And so, because there's so many of them, things get misscanned or miscounted or whatever all the time. And so it's like it seems like I've been about every month or so printing out some category and like going through and trying to at least switch it to actuals to kind of get ahead of it a little bit, just because stuff gets messed up a lot. It's tough.
I mean, if this podcast is going to blow up if we talk about inventory, I mean, it's just going to go viral.
Welcome to the Inventory Podcast.
This is what the people want to hear.
That's right.
So, Brice, you obviously do, I feel like pictures or videos of you elk hunting all the time. Is that mostly here in Oklahoma?
No, just for myself. I have a place down in Lawton that I go to.
Okay.
Me and a buddy lease, but most of I guide hunts out in Wyoming.
Really?
Yeah. So I work for an outfit called Cross Sea Ranch that has a bunch of, actually KODA members are a bunch of guides. And so we'll go out there and, hunt black bear and mule deer and antelope and elk and cigarettes. It's a blast.
That's awesome.
Usually bow hunting, right?
I bow hunt a lot. Most of the hunts we take out are rifle hunters.
Okay.
But I really bow hunt a lot because Oklahoma's has a longer bow season. I mean, I'm not a purist at all. I would hunt with a bazooka if they let me. So I'll hunt for whatever season is in.
Yeah. It's It's same thing in Missouri. I grew up in Missouri. My dad, a lot of my family are big hunters, so they had me holding a shotgun before I could even hold it up myself. Like it was the first time I shot a shotgun was like I was holding the trigger and my dad was holding like the stock, like helping me hold it up and shoot, and the thing nearly knocked me over. So, but yeah, it was. I started getting into bow hunting right as I was leaving to go to college and didn't have as much time to get out as much as I would want to. But the season was like 3 months long versus 2 weeks at rifle hunting, and it seemed like it took a little bit more strategy too, though, because you got to get within 40 yards as opposed to just a couple hundred.
For sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to be a lot sneakier bow hunting. And that's one of the reasons that we don't take a lot of bow hunters out of Wyoming is because, you got to get now you and the hunter, within 40 yards of the elk and stuff. Sometimes it's pretty tough, especially with antelope. But I mean, I've done it. I've guided bow hunters for antelope and gotten antelope, but it is very tough. You get a lot of cactus in you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Blah.
I know my dad's had a number of friends that have run guide services. Was definitely a lot of waterfowl in Missouri, and they always talked about how difficult it was to, especially the ones that owned their own business, of like people are paying hundreds of, if not thousands of dollars for these guided hunts, and you can't guarantee that you're going to even shoot the gun today. So
yeah, for sure. We're lucky that the outfitter I work for owns the land out there. And so, there's like 17,000 acres of deeded land. It's on kind of 3 mountains. So, I mean, our hunters do really well.
Nice.
But it also takes 12 points right now to draw an elk tag. So 12 years to draw a tag in Unit 7.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's tough.
So the tags are kind of
they're hard to get.
The gatekeeper.
Now, antelope and mule deer are a little bit different. And there's some different units up there that are kind of close. Unit 6 versus Unit 7 and some stuff like that. But I mean, we could do a whole podcast on that. Like the point system for different states are ridiculously complicated.
Crazy. Yeah. That's definitely a lot of hunting that I haven't gotten into. I grew up doing a lot of duck hunting, turkey hunting, started getting into deer hunting a little bit more as I was in like middle school, high school age. So.
And then that stuff is super fun. It's just, I think, hard, especially for younger, like active, fit people to just go sit in a tree stand and sit all day. Mm-hmm. And that's why Western hunting, or kind of the style that we do down in Lawton, is so fun because, you're hiking in, you're getting up high, you're glassing, you see stuff moving, you move ridge lines, you sneak in on stuff, you find a bull bedded and then go get a closer look. You don't like him. So you go to a different ridge. It's more like active.
Yeah, that's super cool.
A little more strategy to it. My dad is actually very much the same way. That's why we would always do the spring turkey hunt, not the fall.
Yeah.
Because fall was big groups and you just kind of wait for them to come in. And but spring, it's their mating. So there's a lot of calling, stalking. He had some friends that would have some luck just sitting and waiting for most of the day. But we were always walking and doing something. So I was trudging around in the boots that were too big for me and getting after them. And the strategy was what he really enjoyed about it and what made me enjoy it quite a bit as well.
Yeah, calling turkeys is so fun.
Yeah. I remember the first time I got to go out by myself and start actually calling myself and having a tom respond to me was one of the coolest feelings in the world of like putting off a couple little putts and hearing them down the valley, like gobble just like crazy, just echoing through the woods was just like, he's responding to like what I'm doing, which was just wild.
Now imagine that it's an 800-pound elk coming at you. That one, I actually shot that bull from me to you from like 2 yards. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted him to go with this decoy, but he kept kind of coming around in some thicket to right where I was calling. And so I had to wait until he, was almost on top of me and turned enough that I could get a good shot on him.
Great. So your heart rate was like 55.
Yeah, it was
super chill.
I'll never do it again. It was way too close.
Yeah.
Next time I'm just going to let him keep walking.
Was that last year or this year?
2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. I'll be excited to try it. Thank you again for bringing that. That's awesome. So, we're getting into it. We should probably introduce you guys. This is Brice and Jared. We know both of you guys primarily from KODA CrossFit. You guys both own really the kind of the entity itself, right? And there's a number of locations here in Oklahoma City. Got one in Tulsa, one in Colorado now too, right?
That's right.
Man, how many locations do you guys have?
We have 5.
5?
Wow.
That's awesome. So my first introduction to KODA CrossFit was when we moved here in 2015 to start opening up Triad, and we were getting involved with the community. And I think you guys remember Vincent Mays, one of the original partners here. He was our guy that he was doing more CrossFit than myself or Chad was doing. And so he was going around to the different gyms and just getting to know people. And we were definitely in a spot where we didn't have a whole lot of money for advertising. So our advertising was just get out in the community and get to know people. And I remember getting a booth at Anarchy for Triad, our store. And this was before we were even open. And I think Vincent was working a little bit, but Chad and I were kind of helping out. And at the end of the day, which I think Anarchy usually ends on Sunday, and they do all the podiums on Sunday. And remember just watching KODA team after KODA team take the podium. and we were all kind of having a conversation of, we should probably get to know these people from KODA because they are just clear in the podium spots. So
we used to try to do the Codium is what we would call it.
The Codium.
So we would try to take every spot on the podium.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Was the goal.
You did that, I think, a handful of times at Anarchy that year. So that was my first introduction and getting to watch just some freak athletes at that competition, which is a fairly big one from my understanding here in Oklahoma City. I don't know CrossFit nearly like you guys know it, obviously. But once we kind of started getting to know you guys and hearing from Vincent and working with you guys and getting to know more and more people that are involved with the gym, was learning why you guys had gotten to be as big as you are. Is that I always like the phrase that you guys use, that KODA means friend. It really kind of put in perspective of, they're not known for just having freak athletes. They're known for having just an awesome culture that's very warm and welcoming. But if you're going to come train and going to be serious, like, you've got a real shot, got real potential at KODA. So that was my first introduction to you guys and how I kind of got to know you guys. But like we talked about leading up to this podcast, I don't know either of you very well personally. So excited to get to know you guys a little bit more. And Brice, obviously, with your hunting, and Jared with your running, you run what, on average 1,000 miles a day, I think. So
I looked the other day, I'm almost at 1,900 for the year.
1,900? Holy cow.
Geez.
The goal was 2023 I wanted to get 2023 miles.
That's awesome.
I'm not going to make it.
2024.
Yeah.
I'd tell you my numbers, but
Yeah,
they are nowhere close to that, I'm sure.
It's funny that you say that, though, with like the KODA competition and then friendly stuff, because I feel like Jared and I are pretty good, like yin and yang with that. Like, I'm very performance oriented. Like, if you told me that, doing jumping jacks and drinking Cobra blood would like make me better, I would try it for a while. I could do it by myself in the garage and I wouldn't care. And Jared just like super, welcoming and really tuned to, personalities and really relates to people super well. So it's been kind of fun to see like our styles meet each other in the middle so that we can still, pursue like fitness in the gym, but then also have a really good time and make sure classes are ran smooth and, that people are leaving with smiles on their faces and stuff.
I think that somebody told me a long time ago, be business partners, not with your twin.
right.
Yeah.
So if you're everything, you think the same about everything, then nothing ever, we both make the same mistakes instead of having something to go off.
Right.
I've heard a similar quote to that of if the two business partners always agree on everything, there's no point for one of them.
Yeah.
That one of them can always make the decision. So
It's one of the things we even talk about with the stores is it's like, we don't want 4 of the same person at each store. We want people who do different things, who have different perspectives, who may have different, even out here, like we've got Tyler who does like a little bit more like powerlifting, bodybuilding stuff. We've got Kaylin, obviously, who does CrossFit, and you've got me, and I do jujitsu as like my main workouts. And so it's like having different perspectives and different people that people can connect to. If there was 4 Thomases in the store, we do great at some things and we do terrible at others. And so it's like having those different people in the store to yin and yang that. It's the same kind of idea. I think it's super important though.
it's cool that you guys obviously have an appreciation for each other as well, because obviously you tend to, it sounds like you guys appreciate and focus on different things. So it would be easy for, one of you to look at the other person and say, hey, they're not focusing enough on what I'm focused on. But the appreciation is again, I think a big thing of why you guys have done so well. And you said you just hit 12 years in business, right?
Yeah,
2011.
We only had one fight the whole time was when I designed a T-shirt while he was out of town.
What did that T-shirt look like?
Awesome.
I'm sure it was just black.
Jared, do you do all the clothing?
I have a lot of help from one of our members had some ideas, so he sent me some stuff, and then like we have a girl who has some ideas. I'll see something online I like, and I'll just send to one of our graphic people, and they'll kind of design it.
That's awesome. I've seen that as well with obviously getting to know a number of the members at, being out and about in the community and within the store as well is seeing how much everybody's bought into it and how much they love to contribute and put in. And I thought I had heard that before, is that other people had contributed with T-shirts or clothing designs, and getting to watch members turn into helping out with coaching some classes, and Kaylin helping out the way that she does as well. You can tell she just wants to be involved more with what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Brice and I started at another gym back in 2009, maybe.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot from them, but they would do one T-shirt or 2 T-shirts a year. Every 6 months, they put a new T-shirt out.
Mm.
And we were like, why don't we just do a bunch of T-shirts and like free advertising? And just, we're not free. They're paying for us to wear our stuff around. I never could understand. I just always wanted to buy as many CrossFit shirts as I could find.
Right.
So I was thinking I wasn't the only one that was like that.
Yeah. I mean, we completely agree.
Yeah.
we try to have as many Triad shirts out there as possible. That is that is a goal for sure.
I see a Triad Christmas sweater.
Yeah.
Right now.
hey, give it away. See, that doesn't release until tomorrow. So.
Those window stickers, window stickers all over, that's just, you should be just handing those out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that is probably why anytime I go to a competition, it seems like 50% of the people there are wearing KODA shirts.
Right.
So yeah.
We get into it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had girls want to do brassieres and booty shorts and all that. It's kind of hard to find all that will work for everybody. So we haven't quite gotten to that.
Yeah.
You got to find a balance.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We get some wacky recommendations as well. I don't know if we've gotten brassieres as a recommendation before.
Kevin's got his own booty shorts though.
I think I saw those when he was doing his bodybuilding show.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
There's some of those on the internet.
Yeah. Right.
You keep up with me on social media. Don't you?
That's right.
I mean, he's not near as tan as I thought he was.
That's all spray fake tan.
Yeah. Right.
It's funny you talk about KK and, people being members and then coming to teach some classes and stuff. I would say that's kind of like the lifeblood of our gym really is, we have a lot of full-time coaches, but like our part-timers who have jobs doing other stuff and will coach, 3 or 4 classes a week. I mean, they bring so much excitement and just enjoyment to the gym. It's like that's really who drives our business the most, are those like part-time coaches.
I don't think we've had very many coaches at all that didn't come from inside the gym. We've never put like an ad out saying we're looking for a coach.
That's awesome. I mean, we try and do the same thing ourselves. Is we have never put out applications. We've always hired people that are customers with us and we get to know personally. So
right. Yeah. That's part of it, because you get them, you have these people who appreciate and understand the culture and what it takes to maintain that and what it means to be a part of it. And so there's an appreciation for that when you are somebody that goes to KODA, or you're somebody who then starts working part-time there. It's like, you've been a part of the culture for a long time. Now you've just got a badge or a key to the a key to the gym, and it's like it doesn't change much. Like one of the big things we look to, especially when we're hiring people, is this is somebody we would give a key to the store today. Like even if they didn't work here, here's a key to the store. I don't care. I trust you. And it's like that's almost like a tell for us of like, this is somebody who we'd obviously want to employ here. They're that entrenched in the culture. They come out, they're friends with us outside of here, and it's like those things just make sense, because when they come to work, they understand, they get what we have to have here in order to maintain that culture. If you just pull somebody off the street and you're like, okay, you manage this KODA, or like you manage this Triad, it's like they don't understand this. They've never been in. They don't understand what it takes or how meaningful it is to a lot of people. When you have somebody that comes to work that doesn't care as much as some of your customers care, it's like, oh man, well, like that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. So you guys said you were at a different gym prior to KODA, right?
Yeah, we met at CrossFit OKC.
And that was like one of the first gyms in the area, right?
It was the first one in the city.
When I moved here, when I got stationed at Tinker, there was two. One in CrossFit OKC, which is really in Edmond, and then one down in Moore. Norman. Yeah, that was out of a garage. So that was really the only two options.
Really?
Yeah.
So I remember, I think I was in OKC at one point, and I remember seeing a picture, like a bulletin board that had a bunch of old pictures on it. And I think I remembered seeing both of you guys on it, as well as coaches and gym owners at a number of different gyms in the area. So correct me if I'm wrong, but did a lot of people come out of CrossFit OKC?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's everybody kind of came out of that spot.
Yeah, really. I guess
Zach.
Native was the only one that didn't. He was only there for a little bit.
But he was at CrossFit OKC before he went to Native. Kirk was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went to like 405, Native, and then I guess some came out of that one down in Norman. And then, Zussman went out of Complete, and then they've all kind of branched out. So it's been fun to see, how it all started, kind of spiderweb into back to the original.
That was a really interesting picture because I'd never even really thought about that because obviously, CrossFit, I guess, 20, 30 years ago really wasn't much of a thing at all. So it all had to kind of start somewhere. So being able to be here soon enough to see where it kind of started from was pretty cool.
I think our coach Chad has been with us forever. He started CrossFit before we did.
Oh, really?
Washington, D.C.
Oh,
So
wow.
He actually started like 07 or 06, something like that.
Wow.
So we have a lot of years of experience between everybody.
Yeah.
Have any idea it'd be this big?
We had a goal. We wanted to have 6 gyms in 2 years.
Really? When you
Wow.
first started?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it needed it around here. Like there was a lot of availability.
It took us 5, I think.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
It's funny because I see a lot of similarities just as somebody who is like entrenched in the jiu-jitsu community now that like I am. And it's very funny because it's the same kind of thing. It was like there was one jiu-jitsu gym, 12 years ago, 14 years ago. And it's like everybody went to that. And now it's just been long enough that all of those people that were there are all black belts and now all have their own gyms. And so it's like, it's really interesting. There's so many parallels between it where it's just like everybody like, I used to train. We all came from the same little hub. Mm-hmm. And then like, we all just we were the ones who kept doing it. And it's like, and then that kind of branches and grows from a new place. And now we're looking, the Oklahoma City Metro has almost, I think it's just under 40 like places to do jiu-jitsu in the Oklahoma City Metro. It's
That's
crazy.
Awesome. And so we would see, a trainer that became a gym manager that would then want to become an owner, and they would leave that gym and set up their own CrossFit. And so really our goal was to just keep them kind of in the KODA umbrella. So we wanted to partner up and have this other location, but then be able to cut down on overhead, with like programming and processes and t-shirt orders and all that kind of stuff, coaches training, and all that. So it helped just kind of having like partners with it. Norman was our first one with Kevin, and then, we just kind of slowly started expanding them.
Yeah,
Worked out
that's
really
awesome.
well.
So each location has a different ownership in it as well. Like obviously you guys have part ownership in each location, but there's a different owner that's there every day.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
So like we're close to KODA Native, and Natalie owns that one.
Owns and runs it, yeah.
I bet that is hugely beneficial because you get to see like Natalie just take full ownership in her location in KODA Native, that you guys don't have to worry about being there even just a couple of days a week to check in on things and hopefully be involved enough. So, and
I think what helped the most was during COVID, and we all got together, figuring out what we were going to do, how we were going to manage this. And then we could put videos out and go live and do workouts and stuff like that. It really helped. We really got together even more.
Yeah.
During
have a
that
whole
time.
team.
it gave them quite a bit of assurance to have someone they could kind of lean on. They weren't just totally on their own.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure. And it's awesome. Yeah. So Natalie having skin in the game, obviously, makes it really important to her. And, she's always looking for new ways to be innovative and to, give a better product. And so then we can use, the trial and error she does at Native, and we can implement some of those at Norman and some at Ironview and stuff.
That's
like
cool.
that.
Has the freedom to even just try in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome. I think that's absolutely awesome. An awesome model. And before, so we'll use KODA Native as an example. It was at one point, it was just CrossFit Native, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And then you guys kind of bought in and kind of took over that, right?
Correct.
And that's been a number of the other locations, right?
So we've done them different ways. So that native location, we just completely took over the ownership and transformed everything. There was one that was CrossFit Juliet, which is we took over up in Ironview in Denver. And so that was a little bit more of a transitional phase with the ownership still staying around as like members. And then we've just started up, Norman, straight from scratch. And then KODA Tulsa, we started up straight from scratch.
Wow.
Okay. What's been the most, I guess I don't want to say best, but which avenue or which route have you guys liked the most?
I think starting fresh.
I think that's a little bit easier. Yeah. I mean,
Really?
It's nice to have like turnkey operation, but you're just having to do so much like we talked about earlier with the culture and kind of changing that and really keeping a thumb on the pulse of, emotions and stuff, which I don't really love doing. Jared's way better at that than me.
And like some of them, we bought some and the equipment's not very good. So we have all this equipment that's not very good. So we have to get rid of it and buy all new equipment.
Right.
So it really wasn't very beneficial to buy.
Right.
Got to do an overhaul.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want to take the coaches through your coaches development, even though they are like, I've been doing this for forever. But, there's just that kind of a little bit of animosity.
Instead
there.
of just teaching them, you also have to break bad habits potentially.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That can be tough for us too. I know we've had, I guess we've had a couple of people that have worked here that have worked at other supplement stores.
At least in the industry, yeah.
At least in the industry. And that's always one part that we're a little bit nervous about is what's their mindset? Are they coming in thinking they know everything, or are they are they more open to our way of doing things? So
do you have like a coaches or not a coaches, but a training program for staff?
Yes. Thomas does a lot of that if you want to walk him through it.
Yeah. So our training typically it's a month long for our training. And yeah, we kind of a little bit of everything. So the biggest thing is you have 2 tests that you have to pass at the end. You have our in-house test, which is the real thumper for sure. And then you also have to be NASM certified for nutrition coaching is what I think it's called.
They
now.
changed it up since we did it, but it's a certified nutrition coach now.
Yeah. And so, but then essentially the big test, the in-house test is the one that you have to pass before you're allowed to take a customer. And so with that, you essentially get a copy of the test your first day. So when you're signing paperwork, you get handed the test. It is not a fun thing. I think I'm ballparking, but I know it's like over 180 questions, all handwritten essays. And so you get a copy of the blank test, and then it's your responsibility to fill it out and get good, accurate information. Talk with your manager or other employees to make sure the things that you're putting on your study guide are accurate. And then you sit down for 11 hours or so and you take that test before you can take a customer. And so through that month training, you're going to go over what to do in the store, how to handle interactions, how to handle, disgruntled customer, just kind of normal stuff, working the POS, restocking. But the big thing is studying and getting ready for that test. And so, so you have to at least be able to pass this test and have that level of knowledge before you can take a customer.
If you had to break it up into percentage of like what percentage is of your curriculum is based on like supplement knowledge versus like soft skills, like sell and stuff.
So I would say, we are very much in the boat because we're not, as funny as it sounds, as a retail location, we are not a very sales driven like company. Kind of similarly to you guys, I think it's like we're a friendship based company. It's like if I can make friends, like friends come to the store, friends buy things. And so we actually don't check individual sales of any of our employees or have like sales quotas or anything like that. We don't pay commission based off of individual sales or anything. So I would say most of it is customer interaction, just how to have a conversation with people, how to have like a fruitful conversation, how to be better at making friends, all of those kind of things. And I would say it's probably 40% that, probably 40% test, like knowledge, and then probably 20% just like how to operate the store.
Whenever I would ask Trace questions, it was like he was so far over my head. Some of the stuff he was saying.
Yeah. And that's part of the challenge too, because it's like we build them up with this knowledge base and then you're so like filled with it is that we have to like, you have to do the reverse of like, okay, but now let's layman's term this out to where somebody can actually understand it.
Maybe he thought I was smarter than I was.
Probably a compliment though, right?
Right. But just like for you guys, like, we have a standard of what, like for your coaches, you have a standard of what you want them to know and understand before they ever are actually coaching somebody.
Yeah, we have a coaches development program that we take all of our coaches through, new coaches and people outside of the KODA community too. That's like a 12-week system that we're actually starting to do up in mid-February.
Or even CrossFitters, not even all CrossFitters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
functional fitness coaches.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, so you can say a person can be up there yelling about, external rotation and valgus knee and blah, blah, blah. But, members don't want to hear that. You need to say, flex your stomach.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because we've had the funniest time from our perspective whenever we have an employee is right after they've passed their test, but they're still like pre 6 months before, because the answers that they will give customers is hilarious. We had a situation one time where an employee was talking to this lady, a very sweet old lady, probably 75, maybe older. And she'd come in and she's like, I'm looking for, and she's like pulling her phone out and like shows him a picture of like amino acids. And he said something along the lines of like, oh yeah, because you take them intra-workout for their anti-catabolic properties, right? And she's like, huh? It's like, let's reel that one back in a little bit. She has no idea what the hell you're talking about.
It'd been awesome if she was like, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You get it. I'm trying to maintain muscle tissue through my fasted workouts.
Yeah, you're right. They're really less anabolic and more anti-catabolic.
Right,
is
exactly.
Response.
Yeah, right. Just like, oh man, but that is a funny time where you're like you said, it's like just flex the stomach. That's the level we need to have this at.
I mean, but I was the same way when I started. I just wanted people to be confident and to know all this stuff. I was trying to tell them and get everything out of it. And so, I mean, I was just talking way too much about the science stuff and, getting, responses that we wanted and how this is going to go and all that stuff. And really, it's like, I just need to make sure they're having a good time and staying safe.
And I just say, I'm going to punch you in the stomach. If they think I'm going to punch them in the stomach, which does happen, then they're going to tighten it up.
Right, exactly.
Very simplified.
Right.
So how about for you guys on soft skills versus just actual science or knowledge? Like what's that percentage look like for you guys in your coaching program?
God, I think, the course, unfortunately, has to be probably 70% knowledge based at first. And then we talk a lot about like the soft skills and we talk about how to control the emotions of a class and stuff. But I think, as you actually start coaching and getting farther and farther into it, it becomes more and more about those personal interactions. And can you read the room and can you have, you got to teach classes different. Obviously 5 a.m. isn't going to come in at a 50% excitement. They're going to come in at 30. So if you can get them to 40 by the end of class, you've done a great job.
Right.
When 5 p.m. after work, all hyped up, like they're going to come in hot. You just kind of like stay a little bit ahead of them and, let them have a good time.
For sure.
And we've learned, like, I don't ever do the morning classes. Something crazy had to happen for me to get up and coach. I'm just not a morning person.
Right.
I'm the same amount of fun all day long, which isn't, it's not that fun, but it's the same. And Jared's really fun in the evenings and really not fun in the morning. So we found it's better to let me go in the morning.
Yeah.
Strategic. That's why, when I go around employees, I don't have a lot of excitement. I set the bar low so that I'm never expected to be a lot of fun to be around.
But yeah, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys, but it's like, our main thing that we're looking for is I just want to like hire the character, teach the supplements. You know what I mean? It's like we want to find somebody, if we can find somebody that'll treat every single person that walks through our doors as if it's their grandmother coming in, well, then it's like, okay, cool. I can teach you supplements. We can guide that, to good interactions, but it's like, we have people all the time and it's nothing wrong with it, but they're like, especially when we have people who have been previous supplement store employees, they're like, well, I know all this about supplements. I know all this about supplements. It's like, okay, sure. That's great. But like, are you coming in expecting this to be like a direct sales quota, like push kind of job? And it's like, we don't do that at all. And in fact, that's super frowned upon. Like if you make somebody uncomfortable because you're trying to push sales, like that's not how you make a friend. And so it's really an interesting thing. Like Kevin was saying, when we do find people that used to work in supplement stores, of like a lot of times you have to like really reel back in the salesiness, because that's for most of the industry, it's such a salesy kind of place. And so, well, we're trying to be the opposite of that.
So you guys obviously, again, been in business for 12 years, started at OKC. What prompted you guys to get going on your own in the first place?
We were actually going to open up CrossFit OKC 2.0.
Really?
Jared and I were, me and Jared and Jason Bogue was the original owner of CrossFit OKC. So yeah, we were all going to open another location. I actually got deployed 2011 to 2012. And so I was gone. That was kind of our game plan, was me coming back and doing that. And Jared was going to help me. And he, Jason actually decided to move back to Seattle, which is great for his family, good on him. And so he didn't want to do that. So Jared and I just went and did it by ourselves.
Okay. Awesome. What kind of brought you guys together in the first place
We did Cupid's Revenge.
Yep. We ran a competition together.
Yeah. And that kind of, we worked good together with my wife, and everything just kind of, we were able to do stuff. And I don't know, we just kind of fell into place.
Isn't it funny how those like just little things, you guys just doing something like that changed your whole life?
There was one thing that happened that almost made it not happen. I set the new muscle up record at CrossFit OKC, and then Brice jumped up there and beat it by 1.
And you're like, I'm out. I don't want to work with this guy.
Right after I did it.
You couldn't even wait like a week?
No.
I'm not going to forget Brice.
How long ago was that?
2010.
Yeah. 13 years ago.
I thought he was just mad about the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else are you mad about?
Yeah, right. Let's get it all out. I
think that's it.
That's all that's on the list.
Yep, that's it.
That's pretty good. That's all things considered. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I've got a way longer list on Thomas.
Yeah.
So.
I was telling him, we were talking about it before, and like he was in Afghanistan, and I was a golf pro, but then I got a lawn care business after being a golf pro.
Oh, really?
And so I was doing that, and it was one summer, it was really, really hot, and I'd have to call him. What was the time difference?
12 hours. Yeah. It's completely opposite.
Yeah. So we'd have to really talk at weird times. And I remember one day I was out there, it was really hot, and I was just miserable out there mowing lawns. And we were talking on the phone. He was over there, and I was saying, let's get this started. I said, just go ahead and send me the money. I'll go ahead and get started now. And I'm over here complaining about all this stuff, and I'm hearing literal bombs going off through the phone. And I'm thinking, maybe I'm being a big baby.
Yeah. It was hot here in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
it was 90. What was it in Afghanistan?
It wasn't bad. Where I was at wasn't very bad.
No,
it was kind of in the mountains.
Other than the bombs.
The bombs.
And they were also just mortars.
Yeah. So he
said, just mortars.
Most of them didn't even blow up.
Yeah.
But I could actually hear it.
Yeah, same thing happens out here. Most of the mortars that land out in Yukon, they don't even blow up.
Man, I forget you were a golf pro at one point, and you said you owned a lawn care business as well.
I did a lawn care after the golf pro.
Very cool. Do you feel like you brought some skills from the lawn care business over to the CrossFit business?
More of the golf pro. Because
so?
Because I was a teaching pro.
Gotcha. Coaching.
Yeah. And then that kind of translated more into this. And
it makes sense. Golf is such an intricate thing, I'm sure. And CrossFit is too.
Like I tell people, it's a golf swing and the snatch is like you have all this stuff going in your head for a split second, but in the golf swing, you don't have a chance of dying.
Right.
Or the clean and jerk, or the snatch, there's a chance of something serious happening.
Yeah, right.
So you really have to be careful with that compared to teaching a golf swing.
Yeah.
I guess golf, you only really got the chance if you're just walking in the wrong way and someone's teeing off into you. So.
Exactly.
I don't know. If you've never seen Kevin's golf swing, it almost kills me. So
he still won't let me play golf with him. It's been 13 years. We've never played golf together.
We went to Top Golf.
We did go to Top Golf. I don't know if you count that.
I play about once a quarter now.
Okay.
That's about it.
Do you still enjoy it? No. It
sucks shooting in the 60s and now shooting in the 80s. So it's like, it's just like, it's not even fun to go out there and waste 4 hours.
Was there a reason you stopped golfing so much in the first place?
It was just, I gave it a shot. I tried to play in tournaments, and it was just not there. At some point you realize that you're way off from trying to make a living from it.
Yeah. I have heard that from a number of people, because Thomas and I, we like to golf. We don't go as nearly as often as we would like to. But we've never
I'd love
been
to shoot in the 80s and be mad.
Same. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. But I've got a few different friends that have, worked in the golf industry, and I've heard that a lot. It gets frustrating if you stop golfing for a little bit. It's extremely frustrating trying to get back into it because you were once good. So
my days, I would get to the course at 8, practice until lunch,
Wow.
go play 18 holes, and then come back and practice until dark.
I feel like it becomes more of a job at that point.
I mean, it was still fun, but it was just like, even with all that, I wasn't there.
It's crazy because I've been dealing with like a shoulder injury this last year, so I didn't golf at all this year, which is rare for me. I mean, we're usually out there a decent amount, nothing crazy, but I haven't been. I separated my shoulder and then went straight from a separated shoulder into like a pinched nerve, and I'm like, well, I'm just not golfing this year, I guess. And so we just this last week played Topgolf, and I realized that I haven't like full swung a club in 10 months probably. And so I'm out there, and I, in my own little mini version of this, it's like my first shot was good. And I was like, okay. And I'm playing with those Topgolf clubs, used to mine, but, my first shot goes straight. My next 9 just slice as hard as they can slice. And I'm like, man, like, this is like, I'm used to like, this isn't a problem for me usually, especially at like Topgolf. And so it's like, it is a very weird thing. You realize how intricate of a thing. And if you're not out practicing, it's just like anything. You're not out practicing yet, like at least somewhat regularly, like you'll lose a lot of your timing, and there's just so much to it. But yeah, it was. And
one of our other owners, Toby from Norman, he's got real big into it. And if I ever want to take a nap, he can call me and talk to me about it. Give him some shit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I do not care, Toby.
I've seen Toby's at butt end of a few different jokes. I think you guys had a meeting of the minds and Toby.
That sounds right. I'm just kidding, Toby. I'm not.
This is a big platform for us to make fun of our team as well.
Yeah.
So,
good. For sure.
Yeah, don't hold back.
Yeah.
Brice, you know what your handicap is?
No idea.
No idea. That's good. You can come golf with us.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Man, so you guys opened the first location as you were deployed, right?
Yeah, Jared ran the whole thing for months before I got back.
Really?
Brice sent me, I think, a check for $15,000, $20,000.
God, it seems more than that.
Yeah,
Back,
we started the gym with $25,000.
Wow.
I came up with 5, and Brice had the rest.
Gotcha.
And then when he came in, it was just a gym was ready to go.
How did it go in the first year?
We probably, honestly, we made money the very first month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool.
I've paid myself every month since the beginning.
That's amazing.
Which we also got in at a really good time.
Yeah.
We had a good following. There's a lot of people that wanted to support us.
Yeah.
We were a big part of the other gym. So, that was really helpful. And then Jared had a lot of lifetime friends and stuff that jumped right in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. And our rent was crazy low.
$800 a month.
Yeah,
Ooh.
we found.
Oh, wow.
We started in 2,000 square feet and luckily had like the first right of refusal for the next 2 spots over.
It was like this.
So got to
right.
kind of keep building, as those became available. So that was really fortunate.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, there was another one around the corner that had a 6-month lease. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't feel confident with 6 months.
Sure.
So then the place we got was month to month.
Oh, man. 6 months. We have never had anything shorter than, I think, 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, you can't even do that now. I mean, there's no way someone would give you a month-to-month lease.
I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially not at that price.
Yeah.
No.
$800 month to month.
And we're actually just working on a new building for HQ that we've got some land. We got a land in contract for.
Oh, wow.
And
Really?
we're looking at building a new spot. Yeah.
That's
So you'll
amazing.
own the space that you guys are moving into?
Yeah, we own the
that'd be
one
cool.
in Colorado and we own Norman. So yeah, this will be our one we can own over here too.
That's nice. I'm sure it's nice to have those assets too.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah.
How has the transition of having something like Tulsa been? Obviously it's close, but still kind of like a reach. Because I think it's something I know we're both like Triad Tulsa is always asked about by customers all the time. And one of the things that we always try to explain to people is like, it's really difficult if we don't have somebody ready to move or like go be a part of it, And so it's definitely what seems to be a challenge. So I'm curious how it's been for you guys doing that.
Well, we had someone who was ready to move.
Yeah.
Did someone
difference.
move out there,
Well,
or was there someone?
Tommy coached for us in Norman and then moved back. And so then he was going to go back there and
Work, I think marketing.
Yeah, had a job out there. And so he wanted to open one in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And so, it worked out where he was already in the culture. He was coaching classes.
Right.
We knew him well. We
Yeah.
knew his work ethic and all
One
that
of those
stuff.
guys we'd give a key to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter, when we first meet him.
Yeah.
Right.
Has there been any difficulties with Tulsa or even Ironview Open now being separated by more than just on the other side of the city?
I would say that Tulsa still kind of had the KODA name they could use a little bit.
Right.
For Denver, it wasn't as big of a deal at all.
Sure.
And so, we definitely didn't have the pull in Denver that we do in Oklahoma.
Tulsa had like 5 gyms with like within 2 miles too.
Yeah.
So
really?
it was slower
Sure.
going.
For sure. Yeah. Much more saturated, especially in kind of that downtown area.
Yeah.
Right.
A few of them are not there anymore. So I think that's kind of,
Yeah.
And
Well,
we're
built a
seeing
little
that.
more.
I don't know if you've seen that with jiu-jitsu, where it's like you're kind of seeing people who loved to do CrossFit and we're just like, well, I'm just going to open a gym. I love CrossFit. My buddies love to CrossFit with me. It's going to be great. And then, as the business side of it, kind of they get cut out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And so then you're seeing a lot of them shut down and stuff who aren't like, in the full-time gym
Right.
mindset.
Well, it's hard to people don't realize it's hard to keep a business going and doing that with monthly memberships and things. And it's why a lot of jiu-jitsu places, some of them, do contracts and some of them don't, but it's like, I understand why places do, because you've got to be finding some source of regular income coming into the gym.
Right. Do they run like a unlimited option and 3 days a week and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
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 Just go kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Very similar.
Bryce was going to go to PT school when he got out of the
Okay.
service, but then it just kind of blew up.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to go that route, go back to school.
It seemed like you guys got in a good time, like a time where it was very much an opportunity for you. So
And we've had to slowly change. Bryce and I were all about competing.
Mhm.
I mean, that's all I would do 8 or 9 competitions a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
We would paint our face
Yeah.
with war paint and stuff and probably kind of be jerks to people. Doing it mainly Jared.
Right
I
before
was always
KODA, my
like,
friend.
Yeah. I mean, we did.
KODA means fun.
KODA means friend
Yeah.
to my friends.
Yeah, exactly. There was one summer I did a competition in Seattle, Miami, Austin. Like it was just like we were just as many competitions that we could get. But it
Yeah.
also kind of helped us get our name out there.
Sure.
I was going to ask, was that the main purpose for it?
Well, I just loved it, but it also, we want to go work out where the best people are. Is what
Yeah.
we wanted to do.
Yeah. How does because you guys put on at least a few different competitions throughout the year, which I am sure is not easy to organize in the first place. You guys always get a lot of praise for always having things running on time and being very organized. And I know that is not an easy thing to do. Do you guys feel like you get more attention from putting those on, or is that just mostly for your members? Or
It's the first timers Bryce and I, our first competition was in Dallas, maybe 10 or 9. And everybody there was very first competition because it just started. So
Sure.
we have a competition every year called First Timers where everybody has to be their first competition.
Yeah.
And that's like our favorite.
That's a super cool thing because I can totally understand even from a jiu-jitsu community standpoint, it's like when you are a white belt and you go, you might go against a 4-stripe white belt. You might have been training jiu-jitsu for 2 months and you will be competing potentially against a guy who's been a white belt for 3 years and has competed 15 times. It's like a whole different ball game,
Yep.
like understanding the adrenaline dump and all the things that go into actually preparing for a competition.
I think that Bryce in the military, you have to be on time. The golf course, if you're 5 minutes late for a tournament, then you're out of the tournament.
wow.
And then my wife is always on top of everything. And then I think all those 3 things together. When we were at a competition in Missouri and there's a trash can full, and I looked over there and my wife had gone inside, found their trash bags, and was taking trash out
Wow.
at a random gym that we were just competing at.
That's too funny.
It's gotten to the point over the years, though, where we've had so many good people in place to do, athlete control
Yeah.
and scoring
Mhm.
and, all the different stuff all the different pieces that go to making a good competition, where now we can kind of set the blocks up and almost just push them over. And it's just like the domino effect, where it works pretty good. And so then Jared and I can sort of just hover and watch out for issues and try to fix big things before it happens. That's actually something I'd love to talk about in here, how you're seeing less and less CrossFit competitions in the area. More and more of them have stopped getting the participation that they had before. And, it's just, I think there's a lot of things that maybe we're not looking at as far as spectator experience, as far as like what we're testing in the workouts. Is it fun for the athletes? That kind of stuff that we're just not doing as good of a job in the community as we can. So this is a great time to actually announce that we're going to put on like a competition creation workshop on the 7th of January, where we're going to make the workouts for Cupid. So I'm inviting a bunch of the local gym owners and people that are involved in competitions to kind of come and help me put the workouts together that we'll do at our big competition coming February.
I think Brice and I have probably competed or been to 100 competitions.
Easy.
So we've seen all these things that work and all the things that don't work.
Sure.
And what's fun for everybody to watch, and just like,
and it's always changing too. You got to stay in it. So that's the thing with like CrossFit is there's always, new implements or sandbags or handstand walk obstacle courses or people doing pullovers or whatever, and so you kind of have to be in the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've, even though I'm not probably competing as much as I was a few years ago, I'm having to stay in it. I also am the head programmer for the Fittest Experience, which is down in Austin, is a big competition with like 1,200 athletes down there.
Yeah.
And
you said you're heading down there soon, right?
Yeah, I was actually supposed to go tomorrow, but I canceled it for this podcast. No big deal.
Hey, appreciate that, guys.
But
hopefully this gets you some attention.
Well, and that one's already so big. I mean, you can't. Everything has to work perfectly. When you have 1,200 athletes going through,
right?
I mean, it has got to be on time. The judging has to be crisp. The athletes have to know what's going on. The workouts have to be fun. You have to test the right modalities and all that stuff. I mean, it's pretty intricate, but if we could take just some of those concepts and apply them to all these little local competitions, I think people would be way more successful. We're just maybe not looking at it as much. So if any of you guys out there want to come to the one, on January 7th, definitely come by KODA. We'll be doing it.
So it'll be kind of a community put together, like as far as like at least the workouts themselves for that competition.
Yeah, we'll talk through the timeline that we have based on the different platforms that are available. What kind of equipment, what we want to test. Okay, let's, build the framework out. Okay, now how can we make this good for spectators to be able to watch? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be a good test that'll actually, whatever we're trying to test, are we going to show deviation between athletes? And then is it going to be fun for people to do so they want to come back next year?
Right. Absolutely. No, that's a huge aspect to it as well. And I never thought about is how fun is it for the spectators to be watching? Because you don't want just the people that are competing. It's like a lot of people are going to be having, their family out or, their friends from the gym are competing. So you want to make it enjoyable for them to watch as well.
Really little tweaks can do that. So let's, we make Thomas do burpee box overs and toes to bar just back and forth for 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Well, no one knows where anyone is if he's just going back and forth. But, if every round he's got to move the box one step forward, well, now you can see the whole field and see where everyone's at. And we can tell if Thomas is in first or if he's in 18th. Just by where the box is.
Yeah.
So it's like little stuff like that goes a long way,
I never even thought about that, but I feel like I see that at the games a lot.
Right.
Too, of like you can legitimately see in the race where people are stacked up against each other.
We always want to build people to see who is winning.
That doesn't know about CrossFit.
Right.
And that's the thing.
Turn it on. Or
the games talk about that all the time. Yeah. Can you have someone who just loves sports?
Yeah.
Watch it and be excited.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think that's why I've enjoyed watching it, is because it's very obvious to me. Where if it was just back and forth, it would just look like a bunch of people working out.
Hopefully you didn't watch a swim.
Watch the swim?
Yeah, hopefully you didn't watch that.
I don't think I did.
Thank God.
Okay.
We're not very good swimmers.
I think of our team in 2021, out of like the 40 teams, we got 38th on the swim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did so bad.
So obviously we are talking to someone that's been and competed at the games. What is that experience like?
It was awesome. It was very fun. Mm-hmm. You definitely don't, when you're on a big stage like that, we didn't have anything to lose at that point. Just making it was awesome. And so, you just don't really, the pain doesn't hurt quite as much when you're out there on the big floor.
Yeah.
And they're making it harder and harder to get to. So I'm really glad I made it when I did. And it's mostly because our girls are awesome. Nothing away from Colby. He's fantastic too, but our girls were really, really good.
Yeah.
And then, they made it last year with Kevin and Casey also.
We had kind of made a deal that we were, because a lot of gym owners would always kind of go to the CrossFit games. There was like a place to get together and mingle with people that also own gyms, but we never were going to go until somebody from our gym made it. So we just always had to just sit on the sidelines and watch it from the house.
Yeah. And Jason Miller was our first athlete as a master's athlete to make it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So we finally got to go.
I remember when he went.
Jared and I spent the night in some tents out there.
It was
Tents
fun.
in
really?
Tent City,
It was, it was awesome.
How many years were you guys in business before you got to go to the games?
That was 17, wasn't it?
18 until at least 5 or 6, 7 years. Brice missed it by once.
3 spots, 2 times.
Yeah.
2 different times?
Yeah.
Holy, as an individual?
Yeah, as an
Yeah.
individual.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Needed those
But
girls.
that was back in the day, too. Way
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
When anybody could have made it.
Yeah.
Thomas could have just walked in.
Yeah, I don't know about that. that is an interesting dynamic because as somebody who's kind of watched to some extent like CrossFit kind of develop, just because we've been in the fitness industry for a long time, it is very interesting to see what new like bag of worms are going to drop on like the competitors that year. And it's like, it seems like they're trying to catch people off guard almost like, hey, by the way, this year we're doing mountain biking. And you're like, whoa, what? Like
even in the open, you get good at handstand push-ups. And so they're going to go to strict handstand push-ups. And then now you got to do deficit handstand push-ups. And you got to do handstand push-ups with, facing the wall. And there's just always something new coming up. Now freestanding
and
handstand
crossover jump ropes.
Yeah. We just got to keep making it harder.
Yeah.
You got to have something to differentiate levels, I guess.
Wasn't there a football toss that you guys implemented one year
Oh,
to
yeah.
win competition?
That's awesome.
That was at Cupid's. We tried to do like a fun thing. That year our I guess theme was,
sports.
the combine.
Yeah, the combine.
So we had
Oh,
we had a football throw, and it was crazy. Gosh, I don't want to make fun of him on here, but like the strongest, fastest, fittest guy we had. I mean, he did not throw the ball very far, and he did not look good doing it. And it's that's a male-female competition, and his partner threw it quite a bit farther than him and looked way tougher doing it.
I remember when we were setting that up, we had an NFL player that used to come to the gym, retired, and we were trying to figure out where to throw it, and he hit the building across the field. And we're thinking we should be safe. No other NFL player is going to be throwing a football.
You're not allowed to sign up.
That's great. Well, it is funny though, but you see how like athleticism without practice in different sports doesn't translate. And so there's a kid that I've trained with for years, and his name's Jet Thompson, and he's this little, he's 17 years old now. He just won. So the biggest jiu-jitsu tournaments that happen across the world is ADCC. And so they have the big ADCC, which is the games essentially. And then you have the ADCC Open, which is like a lot of how you like qualify. And that is, it's just no weight classes, no belts, no age restrictions, nothing. Like if I want to go do it as a purple belt, I got to go against black belts, whatever size and however good they are, right? I might come across a dude who's a legit like top 5 guy in the world who's going to compete in this. And this 17-year-old kid named Jet just won the ADCC Open against grown men, black belts, from all over the country down in Houston. And incredible at jiu-jitsu, just absolutely has a chance to be a legit world beater, like a top 10 guy in the world. He's already ranked for his weight. He's ranked like top 20 in the world. And you toss that kid a basketball and he looks like a toddler. It's the funniest thing. He just like that, like he just can't wrap his head around something else that like involves the ball. Like he just couldn't do it to save his life. He's a world-class athlete in one aspect. Yeah. And just couldn't dribble a basketball if his life depended on it.
I played rugby in college, and we would have ex-wrestlers come out that could just tackle and run all day and were ferocious on the field. But yeah, you throw them the ball and it just looks. And some of them were great, but man, some of them you did not throw the ball to.
Dude, that's too funny.
You're here to tackle people.
Yeah.
You can see that video. I think it's of Charles Barkley golfing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Another great example.
Right.
Not all sports translates.
Yeah,
well.
it's just so funny. It's just, I don't know.
One aspect that you guys kind of talked about before, and obviously with you guys inviting other gyms and coaches and people to the January 7th thing, where for Cupids to help just contribute. One thing I've always admired quite a bit about the CrossFit community, at least here in Oklahoma City, I can't speak for other ones, is how well you guys seem to get along, even though you are running competing businesses, and how easy it is for someone to go pop in at another gym and just go there for the day, try it out, see some friends that they know, and not feel like they're getting ostracized from the gym that they belong to. So
It used to be a lot better, to be honest.
oh, really?
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
kind of just. I think that Brice is trying to do a good job. He's doing a clinic with Zach and Jenny, a coach's clinic.
Frenemies.
And he's doing
Frenemies.
and he's doing this with the, no, it doesn't cost. Just come in and try to learn, type of thing. So we're trying to do better at.
There used to be a bunch of cool stuff. There was like this girl on girl event we would do. Now, keep in mind, this is when everyone was starting out. And so there was just all these new gyms and new excitement, but there wasn't that many girls doing CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
And so once a month, we would have all the girls from different gyms go to one of them and do one of like the girl workouts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool. And that went for a long time. And then we would do like these little small hammer competitions. It was actually Zach Zussman's idea and stuff. And I think a lot of us really got into like the business side of it and realized that we have to, be full time. And so we started focusing on our own businesses. And some of that community but between inter-gym communities has sort of gone away. And so that's some of the stuff we're trying to push. Zach actually, who's the CrossFit Complete owner, I'm sure you guys know him. He came to me and Jenny with a good idea about kind of doing this little, it's like an Evolve Coaches Co-op where we're just going to have a one-time session one evening. I actually have the dates on that one. Is February 4th.
Okay.
And it's one where you can come in and just kind of hear me and Jenny and Zach talk about how we lead different classes and kind of some of those goals of, teaching efficient movement, but then also really being able to control the environment in your classes so that people leave, happier than they came in.
Right.
Right.
And learn from all the lessons or the mistakes that we've made for the last 12 years each,
Yeah, that's cool that you guys are all willing to do that as well, because I'm sure, at least to parallel it for us, if we were to say, hey, we're going to help people be better about recommending supplements and we have competitor employees, like we could definitely look at that as, hey, we're kind of only helping our competitors. But it's cool that you guys, I feel like that's another reason that you guys have done well, is because you just have the mindset of you want people to enjoy and be better at CrossFit. You just want to help everybody. So
no, don't think that means I don't want to win every competition. I still want to beat Zach at everything. But I think we're at a point now where we all realize that this isn't like a zero-sum game. There's so many people that need to be doing any kind of fitness in Oklahoma, whether it's CrossFit or jiu-jitsu or F45 or whatever their little micro gym culture is. We need more of that. Can only help everybody.
Right. The more you do that, I feel like the more you put yourself in this position where everybody looks to for advice tentatively as well. So
yeah, it's funny because and this comes up with the podcast a decent amount, but it's like people come in and be like, oh, well, what do you think about this other supplement store? And it's like, man, I'm just happy they've got enough people that are into fitness that want to come and shop. There's plenty of people. There's plenty of people. We couldn't handle everyone. So we don't have a problem with other places. And it's so funny because I know for a fact that not every other supplement store feels that way, which is too bad because it's like, man, there's plenty and there's a lot of cool things that we could do if we were willing to, if people were willing to not look at it that way, not look at it as just you're my sworn enemy and you're trying to, ruin my life. And it's like, well, no, man, we're actually trying to make a lot of people's lives better. That's kind of the goal. And it's too bad. But so it's really cool to hear, you guys doing stuff like that, because I think that's what you guys being the leaders in the community with stuff like that is setting that example of guys, we are allowed to be friends.
Yeah.
We're allowed to do this kind of stuff together where we can make everyone better. And because we can make everyone better, we can make all of the people who choose to come and do CrossFit with us better. We can give better classes. We can give better coaching. And that's the end goal, is to help people be better in general.
And it just gives CrossFit a better name.
Right.
And even just group fitness.
Yeah.
And that's really the goal. We compete in the gym and all this stuff, but the real, the main focus is to live a larger life outside the gym.
Mm-hmm.
The end goal isn't to take supplements, is to take supplements and make your life better.
Right.
That's the idea. And so if you're not actually, enjoying those things outside of the gym, what's the point of working out hard and taking supplements?
Right.
Amen.
Is it difficult at all to work with the two ends of the spectrum, your top level athletes, the ones, going on the team to the games, and your brand new person that's just wanting to get a little bit more in shape?
I think that's the Our different personalities helps with that.
Absolutely. Are there different classes for
well, the
different
5
people?
o'clock class is kind of called the heavy hitters class.
Okay.
And then the 6 o'clock class, we might do a tie-dye party.
Hey.
You know, and Thursday night we had a dirty Santa and chicken nuggets. And instead of working out,
awesome.
we just, hung out and talked and ate and gave away gifts.
Yeah.
But we've let the classes kind of, develop their own culture.
Right.
And sort of even in the gym, each class kind of has its own little personality and stuff. And so, we've tried to obviously point that in the right direction, but also let it blossom into, whatever people want it to be.
I didn't even think about that because, again, as someone that goes to more of a traditional gym most of the time is if you're going to the 6 o'clock class, there's probably obviously people that you see at the gym, regularly, but the people that go to the 6 o'clock class are the people that you're seeing every single day that you're there. So,
I mean, we try to make it almost like a club where people want to come hang out.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have people will show up for the 11:30 class at 10:45 and leave at 1.
Yep.
yeah.
They'll just spend 3 or 4 hours at the gym.
Yeah.
But that was also a conscious thing early because we did see some gyms that would have kind of like the EFA zone, what we call are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yes.
The elite fucking athletes. And so, and we didn't want that because then, you put people who are good in the corner and only they can use these weights and only they can be in this area and no one else can be here at that time, and it's just not good for the environment. It's not good for the community. So we've set it up in a way where even our, elite athletes, most of them still take regular group classes.
Right.
And so they'll take group class and maybe do some of their extra stuff on their own, or even the ones that do their own thing on their own, they don't have to be good to do that. We have people that are, just starting that kind of do their own stuff for open gym. And we try to give the same amount of attention, to all of them. So all of them are excited about that next step.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, that's been important to us is to not divide the community like that.
Yeah. Has there been any difficulties with programming the classes in the first place to cater to both?
Well, Brice is programming for 5 gyms with 5 different equipments, 5 different places. It might be snowing in Colorado. It's a perfect day down here. So there's so many moving pieces he has to.
No, you can't just do 400 meter or 400 yard runs or whatever.
Yeah.
We do, but and your coaches have to be ready to scale that. That's the bottom line is the coach that's in that class that knows that athlete, that sees them that day, that can see that they had a long day at work, can recommend, hey, instead of doing 15 burpees today, let's just have you do 10 and try to finish in this time frame. And, they have to be able to understand that. And the athlete has to have enough confidence in that coach to know they're recommending them something for their own benefit. And, that's a lot of we talked about with the soft skills in the coaches development course is that you have to be able to see that and then implement it and mess it up sometimes and be okay with that and then come back and try again. And
yeah. And I'm sure it's like Jared said, is with 5 different gyms, it's impossible to expect you to not be able to overlook one tiny little detail that this gym can't cater to. So I got to imagine that there's maybe some days that the guys up in Colorado are maybe a little sassy and you do an outdoor run when it's nice here, but snowing out there.
I think they might be tougher.
I think we're more sassy with them because their Echo Bike scores are always really good, but I blame it on the low density. The air density is a lot lower there, so it's harder for me to push the bike.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, that makes
less
sense.
drag up there.
For sure.
Yeah. More aerodynamic.
That's
that
right.
makes sense.
Density, altitude.
Yeah, that's right.
Any of my long range shooters, they know what I'm talking about.
That's what that is, but
yeah. Man, I know you've been kind of pulling off. You got some different events that you have going on and some different things. You're more than welcome to plug ways or anything else you'd like to.
One of the things I actually want you guys to get in on is the 2024 KODA Adventure Challenge.
I don't know what it is, but we're down.
This is the whole living a larger life outside of the gym.
Okay.
So what we're doing is in 2024 we have 6 challenges that people have to do throughout the whole year. You have all year to do it. And there's a little bit of requirements, right? You got to put yourself on social media doing it. You got to do it with 3 people outside of your household. You got to tag KODA and probably Triad also. But what they are, the challenges, one of them is you got to climb a mountain. One of them is you got to do an overnight camping trip, backpack style. So not like drive up to it and load the stuff out of your car. You got to carry your stuff in on your pack.
Right.
In your pack, on your back. Another one is to do an adventure race. We're going to let any mud runs or Spartan races or
High rocks.
High rocks will count. You know, any like adventure race. Another one we're going to call the Epic Day, which you got to do something that's outside of like the normal human experience. You know, you think about as, you know, creatures and cavemen and stuff. We like ran, swam a little bit, you know, we hiked around, but we didn't jump out of planes. We didn't scuba dive, you know, I would even probably count like wakeboarding. We didn't get to do much of that. You know, those kind of like do some epic stuff. It's a little bit outside of the human experience.
Maybe a little wakeboarding, but not much.
Yeah. Let's see. Another one is that you need to do a build a future day, which is going to be taking a kid and introducing them to like outdoors or adventure or anything else like that. You know, obviously take their parents along with them would probably be good. And then the last one is to do a volunteer day. So any volunteer organization that you want to be involved in.
Wow.
So there's 2 ways to sign up. We'll have them linked on our Instagram. You can sign up for free and just do it along with us. We also have like a paid option where if you do 4 of the events, you get a t-shirt. If you do 6 of the events, you get a sweet Yeti bottle with like KODA Adventure on it.
Nice.
And so that's kind of, you know, we started this after COVID actually, because we wanted to get people, you know, more than focus just on the gym, but it's like, how can they use their fitness, you know, to do awesome stuff? And yeah. And so we're bringing it back for 2024.
So I was going to ask, this is something you've done before, right?
We did it before with 12, so 1 a month, and you had to do it that month, but they were kind of like smaller challenges. And so this one, we're going to release all 6 challenges. And you have all year to do them, but they're, you know, a little bit more involved, you know, the scuba diving and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it almost seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, is obviously you guys at least started as a CrossFit gym, but it seems like the more hearing you guys talk, your involvement with the community and the coaching and people's lives outside of the gym is you're almost becoming more of a hub for just people being healthier and enjoying life a little bit more. So
I think we've always been that. It just looked like we were just always only into competitions.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my perspective then of that was my introduction to use KODA CrossFit. But the more I've gotten to know you guys, the more I see you guys are involved with all these different things.
Like the Spartan race, there's one in Dallas, and we're going to get everybody just go to that one. That way we can all stay in the same hotel. We can go eat afterwards, go to a bar or whatever, and just hang out. That's kind of the stuff we used to do with our CrossFit competitions. And we realized we can do that with everything.
Yeah, we've done it for all. I mean, 2017, you know, me and Drew Dressler won like the Train to Hunt National Championship, which is just like a kind of a running, fitnessy bow shooting competition.
I remember seeing some videos or pictures from that. And it looked so cool.
Yes, I mean, we've done a lot of that kind of stuff. I just don't think that we pushed people outside of KODA to do it as much as we would like to.
Is that so? That's something you guys plan to do as you move forward, is involving more people from the gym and outside from the gym?
Oh yeah, this adventure challenge is open to anybody.
That's awesome.
In or outside of KODA.
That's awesome.
I think one of the really cool things, and I think where people go from that transition of being like, in a lot of cases, like unfit to fit, like to being more fit or to being like a just generally fit person. I think what's really cool about this is I feel like I've experienced people that don't exactly know how to use that besides just going to the gym. You know, they've started doing CrossFit and they think it's really cool. And so they just continue to do CrossFit and that's kind of all their experience of fitness. And it's like, this is a really cool way to like open people's eyes to like, no, look at how much more capable you are to do all of these things now. Like go find new passions and things that you really appreciate with the level of fitness that you can do. Now go climb a mountain and see how fun that is, you know, like go do these other things that maybe you wouldn't normally have done or ever thought possible to do. And now you get to show people a lot more of what they're capable of than they realize.
I think when I turned 50, when CrossFit, you know, 13 years ago, this would have never even close. When I turned 50, I went and ran 50 miles and didn't even think twice about it. You know, it was just like, where a bunch of people came out. It was like that would have never happened before I started CrossFit. That wasn't even anywhere close to where I was thinking.
Yeah, not even on the radar.
Nothing.
You know, like, you know, if you take somebody who, you know, maybe is like overweight or had a pretty sedentary lifestyle, now they're getting healthy and they're starting to do this, and now they've lost a lot. You like, man, you can go climb a mountain now.
Yeah,
you can do that. You can go enjoy these things you maybe never thought possible, even thought about doing.
Yeah, fall in love with stuff that you didn't even know you liked. Bird watching or you know, whatever. Like it's awesome.
You know, one of the things that we have some girls that were in the power lifting, and part of it was just getting them to be comfortable in a singlet. You know, just, you know, how hard it is to get out there and lift and have to have a singlet. So we'd come up on Sunday mornings and just work on lifting in the singlet when nobody was around.
Right.
And then they're confident. And then I remember they were doing the lifting and they weren't even putting clothes on. They were just walking around. They were so comfortable. They were doing good. And I'm sure
that's a huge part.
I'm sure they never thought they were going to do something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's cool. Being conscious enough of not just getting them ready for the lift, but getting them just comfortable walking around in something that a lot of people wouldn't. I don't know how comfortable I'd be in a singlet.
I didn't like it when I did the Olympic lifting. I hated wearing that thing.
Jared's legs looked huge.
Yeah. Hated it.
Yeah, you guys have gotten into Olympic lifting, obviously, which is a big part of CrossFit as well. You guys you've hosted some powerlifting competitions.
Yeah, we did.
At the gym.
We did a few of those back in the
I
day.
wouldn't say I'm into Olympic lifting now, to be honest.
Okay.
Well, some of our members are. I mean, we just had a guy who won the world championship.
Yeah, EJ Hine just won Junior Worlds.
That's right. At KODA Norman, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Elijah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's awesome. He's going to, a lot of places, and he's actually doing that fitness experience in the pro division. So, I mean, not only is he a world-class Olympic lifter, he's a really good CrossFitter.
Yeah.
He did 62 unbroken chest bar pull-ups.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeez.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's a phenom.
So just a freak athlete.
I wouldn't even say that. He just really works hard. I mean,
oh, really?
He came to us as a band nerd.
Really?
To OU, in the band. And he's probably going to be embarrassed I said that, but I mean, he worked hard and got really strong. Yeah.
Jeez.
So, I mean, he's definitely got the genetics in there somewhere, but he dug them out himself.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Love to see that when hard work pays off like that, and it's not just natural talent, that he just got lucky.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't know the kid very well. I've obviously watched him putting weight over his head that I don't even know if I could hold in my hands recently.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at the point now where he has to hide videos because other coaches from other countries are trying to figure out what he's lifting.
Really?
Yeah. And, it's the funniest thing to see, Olympic lifters who have to have everything perfect. They need a wooden platform. They need the perfect kilo bumpers.
Mm-hmm.
They need these exact collars. They need their Alico bar. Like, they need it to be exactly right. EJ is in there lifting in pounds. Some CrossFit barbell we have on rubber mats. Doesn't even care.
Yeah.
And it's snatching 350 and clean and jerking 425 and just like, just going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
great.
whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just here to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a lot of that, like, just, I'm going to do it attitude, that no matter what happens, I can handle this situation.
I'm sure with Olympic lifting, with it being so technical and so form oriented, that you could run into analysis paralysis pretty easily within that sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the fact that he doesn't have all the little special bells and whistles might be a good thing for him.
I didn't even realize he didn't lift on the platform.
To go out there on Worlds, he had his CrossFit Tupu, the semifinals belt. He was out there lifting in it.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really been super fun following him.
How is it having to involve multiple elements into CrossFit like that with obviously like you said, not just trying to throw in Olympic lifting, but doing very well at it. But obviously that's not the only thing that you're having to throw in gymnastics, which people dedicate their entire life to, just gymnastics. How is it balancing all of those things with CrossFit?
I mean, I think you're just trying to be like you want to know 5% of what the professionals know.
Mm.
So if you can know 5% of what gymnasts know, if you know 5% of what the Olympic lifters, you'll do pretty good. And that's on the competition side. For the regular class side, a lot of times we're just trying to introduce people to some of these things, like teach them how to learn, teach them how to move.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we're wanting them to snatch heavy in classes. If we have snatches in classes, we have a lot of people scaling to cleans. We have a lot of people going light.
Right.
Kettlebell swings.
Yeah, doing kettlebell swings and stuff. Just looking at hinge patterns,
Mm-hmm.
and not having to risk a lot of.
We've kind of gone like, this is your fitness journey to learn how to do a snatch or just to get in a better shape? Everybody's fitness journey is a little bit different. So we've kind of figured that out over time. We don't need to make everybody into a perfect snatcher.
I was thinking of snatching today. I was actually coaching a class that we did a little bit in our strength session, which was mostly technique work for people. And it's like, I'm not really wanting to teach a 45-year-old, mom of two how to snatch necessarily. I'm just trying to teach her how to learn new movements. It's almost like, you learn calculus, not because you need to do calculus. It's because you need to learn how to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so just having that body awareness, it has so many other benefits, Alzheimer's and, just makes you sharper, makes you happier, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not a fun person to be around if I don't lift something heavy during the day. I say heavy for me.
And it just makes you like eat better and live healthier.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go into the gym. You want to get better when you come in there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So people stop smoking. They stop doing all that.
That's true.
stuff.
Yeah. If you're smoking cigarettes all day long, you're not going to have a very fun class.
No, you're not.
You might avoid it.
I feel like at CrossFit and obviously jiu-jitsu, I think they have a lot of like overlap when it comes to a lot of these things. But one of the things I always speak about jiu-jitsu that I think holds, and I did CrossFit for about 2 years, but it's like, I think holds very true to like the CrossFit side of things is it is a hobby and something that you enjoy, but it elevates every aspect of your life. So I think this holds true for both jiu-jitsu and CrossFit is, well, if I'm going to go do class tonight, whether that's jiu-jitsu or CrossFit, like, well, I'm not eating pizza for lunch because I'm going to feel terrible when I go try to do my class tonight. Oh, well, okay, it's noon. How much water have I drank? Like I'm going to be sitting in a hot gym, working my butt off. Okay, well, dang, I haven't even gotten a half a gallon of water in or whatever. Like I need to start getting on my water today because I've got class at 6:00. It's a release. It's something that I can only focus on what's right in front of me whenever I'm doing it, which clears my head, which allows me to get, exert myself. It allows me to get out maybe some pent up aggression or whatever. And it's like, well, now I'm a better, boyfriend or, husband or father, fiance, whatever. And I'm a better coworker and I'm a better manager because now I've had this release. And it's like, it's something that for me, at least jiu-jitsu, and I know for CrossFit, it's the same way, where like, it's a big part of my life, but it is also something where it's like, it's not the most important thing in my life, but it props every other aspect of my life up. And one of the biggest, and I think underrated for a lot of people, and I think you guys understand as well, super well, but the camaraderie and the team and the like friendship aspect, days I don't want to work out are still days I want to hang out with my friends. That will get my butt in the gym faster than anything. I will get up early. I'll go do whatever because I love what I'm doing. I love my workout, but I also love being around the people that I enjoy being around. And so it's funny how something like, and obviously, and we haven't even talked about the physical benefits of it. You know what I mean? Like the workouts or, just being healthier in general. But it's like, it is something that when I did CrossFit or even now when I'm now doing jiu-jitsu, where it's like, it is something that every single aspect of my life gets slightly elevated in some way because of it. And I don't think there's a lot of things out there like that, but when people find them, they're just ultra beneficial.
I like that about water and not eating pizza.
Sleep, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Like, well, now you're doing CrossFit. So now you're wearing a Whoop and you're checking your sleep cycles and you're making sure, oh man, you know what? When I have caffeine after 4:00 in the afternoon, I do sleep like shit. And it's like, now we're looking at sleep hygiene. And there's these little things where it's like, you might not even be a competitor. You might not even be somebody who's like trying to maximize their output when it comes to CrossFit, but you want to feel good and you want to enjoy it while you're doing it. And it's like, well, I can't eat some crappy lunch and then expect to like not want to throw up when I go work out later. And it's like, no, so I'm going to have a better choice today, or I'm going to, whatever. And it is funny, but those things, they start to really kind of stack on top of each other towards like lifelong life benefits.
I hate to say something nice about KK, but what it's done for her, we all know her past life.
Sure.
Right.
And she wants to be strong now. She wants to be healthy. She's not how she looks in the mirror. It's how she's working out in the gym.
Performance,
And that's what we see a lot of people come in with disorders of different kinds.
Sure.
Now it's
ex-addicts and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess you're never an ex-addict, but yeah. And that's been we love that too. That Fit Sober Saturdays program that Mindy and Brian run and everything.
That's very cool.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just seeing how people are doing now is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it puts you, with CrossFit and I think with the jiu-jitsu or any kind of like group class community, you look at Fit Camp 180 right next to it. It's the same thing. Like you still want to go be with your friends. And it's like, you have these people, I think when it comes to these fitness things, is you're now surrounding especially if you come from maybe a more troubled past, or maybe some of the friends that you've had in your life weren't giving you the best direction. Well, now it's like you're surrounded in a group of people who are actively trying to make their life better from a fitness standpoint or whatever. They're showing dedication, they're showing discipline. It's like, it's getting you around people who have that in them, obviously, or they wouldn't be here, And so it is, I think it can be really life-changing for a lot of people.
Sometimes I think the members don't even like CrossFit. They just like to come in and hang out.
Yeah, for real though. And you say it when you're talking about people coming in an hour early for class and staying an hour after.
They don't hate CrossFit so much that they're not willing to do that.
Right.
Yep. But in any of those classes, whatever it is, there's going to be a point where you're tired. You don't want to keep going. It'd be easier just to walk out the door, but you're practicing not quitting every time.
Mm-hmm.
And that just translates to so much in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We talked about this actually with on our last podcast with the guests that we had about building trust in yourself, of completing one thing gives you more confidence in when you set a goal for something else to complete that. So,
Oh yeah.
And at how much it translates to. So
I started CrossFit in my garage, and it was like, it would get hard. I would stop and just go watch TV and grab something to eat. But in the gym, you can't do that.
Right.
You just can't walk off and say I'm done with the workout with everybody watching.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm curious. I feel like I've always noticed this. I don't know if there's a scientific element to this or not, but I feel like I'm a little stronger and a little faster if someone's doing the same workout as me.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's a competitive, that adrenaline, or. But yeah, if I'm just by myself, it's like, this one's just starting to hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
There's that old Glassman quote that men will die for points.
Right.
Like if there's a point on it, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And I'll get that next point.
When Brice and I were competing a lot, we'd see at the end of a workout, at the end of a competition, we see somebody struggling. That was when we would go the opposite way.
Right.
If we saw somebody struggling and going to a bad place, we would turn it around, and that would have been when we would not be struggling.
It's like the fuel for you.
Yeah.
You would take that as fuel.
Yeah.
And then they see us over here going crazy. And then we just kind of just put the hammer.
Yeah, right.
But we've kind of gotten away from that.
We're too tired for that now.
Yes. We'll let the other people make us feel.
Yeah.
I'll just let Randall win.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned obviously ex-addicts are not really ex-addicts, but I feel like we work with a group called Hope is Alive, or HIA, here in town, and they've got a number of sober living homes around town, and that seems to be the biggest consistency with everybody that's going through the program is they get really into working out whenever they're going through that and getting sober and building better better lifestyle for themselves. So
it's awesome. And it's because you're addicted to a substance, but for sure a big part of that is the endorphins.
Yeah.
Like you're addicted to endorphins, which we all are to some extent.
Right.
But so if you can get those endorphins from fitness, gosh, isn't that a much better supply than get them from heroin?
Right.
I guess it could be almost like an addiction to working out because of the endorphins afterwards.
Well, we've seen that
for sure.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You said you've seen that?
Oh yeah. People, I mean, just
You gotta
working
tell
out so much.
You got to tell some people to go home.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, which you talk to them about, hey, rest days and all that kind of stuff, but it's neat how they, replaced a bad addiction with now something that actually is positive in their life.
Yeah.
And we say addiction like it's a negative in that scenario, but it's not. It's made them where they're now more resilient to stay away from that substance that they were addicted to, because now, if I'm, feeling depressed or, normally when I would have gone and put a needle in my arm, now I'll just go to the gym and I can get that same feeling and then, and be good for the next day.
Right.
And I like that the people will talk to people about it too. I mean, they won't keep it a secret. They'll want other people to be doing good just like they are doing. We've kind of gotten into, in the last few years, also not straying away from mental health. And giving people a lot of opportunities. We have like a week where what is the mental health week we do? And just like we have somebody come to me, they're having troubles, they'll talk to me. I'm not trained for that, but I have a buddy who is, so I'll give him his number and they can go talk to him. Somebody who actually, I can listen, but I can't help.
Yeah, it's cool putting it out there. And then that's something we've kind of done, inside the community. I guess we do advertise it a little bit, but we have our mental health week where all the workouts are focused on partner stuff. And, we really, suicide prevention type stuff. And it's been really good for networking and learning about different professionals in the field. So now we can refer people a lot easier, when in the past I wouldn't have known who to send anybody to.
Sure.
Yeah.
You've got resources at your fingertips you can pass. Gosh, that is genuinely really cool to hear how many different things you guys offer members and I think it's a testament to how much you genuinely care about them as people, not just as members paying their fees.
Well, and let's be clear though, most of these ideas weren't mine and Jared's. A lot of these were like a member's great idea. We had a coach or a fellow owner who kind of ran with that program, got it all started, and then now we get to use that program to the benefit of everybody.
But I think that comes from your guys' mindset towards it in the first place, though, is again, like I talked about before, is letting the members contribute as much as they do. Because it's, as an owner of a business, I've dealt with it myself. Of it can be very difficult to be open to other people's ideas and letting them actually see them out and run with them. So
we love when people like to have an idea and try to run with it. That's one less thing off of our plate.
When there's, I think that's maybe the one thing that's helped me a lot is once my plate gets so full that it's like, I don't even care what the idea is, just go.
Exactly.
One of the things that I want to pay you guys a compliment on too, because it is something that I've heard, a couple of times, like whenever situations have happened, but you guys are very known, I guess, or so one of the things that I hear consistently is how well you treat your coaches. And, I think sometimes with it being CrossFit, I think, certain gyms or certain places don't quite take the coaching as seriously as you guys do, as this is something that people want to do as a job. And this is something, and we're taking it as seriously as a job, where it's, regular scheduling of classes, like the ability for them to have different things through working through KODA and stuff. And so that's one thing that I have heard many, many times from coaches that you guys have, especially if they've coached elsewhere, like different gyms or even in different like states and different areas, is they've been like, yeah. And then I started working at KODA and I was like, holy crap, this is like an actual job. Like they treat it like a real thing as opposed to just like another dude who's happened to be coaching. And so I think it's really cool that you guys take everything obviously very serious. And I think there's no secret as to that's why you guys have so much success, is that you take not just your coaches seriously from a training standpoint and getting them, doing the KODA model, but you also treat them as like valued employees, and then taking, your customers and your clients very serious as well. And it's like, I think there's not a lot of places within CrossFit or outside of CrossFit that I think take all of those things as seriously as you guys do. And I think that's why you've had so much success, is that like there is care in every spot when it comes to KODA.
That was one of those things that we had to learn from. There was a CrossFit coach that got paralyzed. Remember that back in the day?
Yeah.
And they didn't have insurance. So they had to do all of this, social media to try to get money, but they got to be able to pay for all the stuff he had to get now. And like when that happened, we said, nobody's going to work for us that doesn't have insurance. So we have 401k, we have insurance. We didn't want that to happen to anybody.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of CrossFits have gone to that.
They definitely have it, and I think that's cool. And I remember talking to somebody specifically who had been like starting to coach for you guys, and it was like their prior experience with coaching was like, yeah, sometimes I coach this class and then sometimes I don't, and I don't really know. And sometimes it, it's kind of like, I never know when I'm coaching, and it's like, it's just kind of like, there's no real schedule. It's not taken like super serious. And then they came to you guys and they're like, oh yeah, it's like super structured. I get insurance, like it's like a real, like this is something that somebody can actually come and do and like, make a living, in their own way of doing it. And I think that's super cool.
I think that's a big reason why you guys have the 5 locations too, because I don't feel like I see many CrossFit gyms that have even 2. It is, somewhat of a low barrier, can be a low barrier to entry of rent a warehouse space and get enough members. But to be able to scale it to something that you guys have is you got to treat it like a real job, which obviously you guys have. So,
and all the other gym owners and managers do the same thing too. I can't imagine doing it another way. It actually gives me anxiety when you talk about how like not having a regular schedule. Like I don't know how we would.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared does ours, but I just get to go look in there and see it. If there was like next week, I looked and there wasn't names on there, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it as a part-time job. They, they were firemen or they had another career, and we decided we're just going to go all in from the beginning.
And but those people need to be, it needs to be easy for them. It needs to be plug and play where they can easily see what class they're coaching. They know what the response of that workout is supposed to be. What stimulus we're going for. Okay, here's how I coach the class, and them to have the tools to be able to run it efficiently makes it more fun for them. So then they'll keep being coaches. If they walked in and we didn't have the equipment in the right place, the workout wasn't written up in the board, none of the members knew what was going on. I mean, it would that seems like it would be a headache for them. Why would they want to coach?
Right.
Yeah. So I think our goal is to make it as fun and efficient as we can for the coaches, knowing that they'll make it as fun and efficient for the members.
Right. Well, and and that's the thing that I think people forget something. If you take your coaches for granted, like your classes aren't going to be, it's just like any other job. If you take your managers for granted, like your regular employees aren't going to have a good time. Like, you know, it all trickles down in some way. And it's like, if you treat this person like crap, well, like eventually that's going to get to your clientele too, because they're not happy because, you know, they don't have any kind of structure or any kind of like whatever that looks like.
I think Southwest Airlines has gotten a lot of credit for that, of their level of customer service. They get praised for that, and they credit it to the people at the top are treating the middle managers well, and the middle managers are treating the staff well, and the staff is treating the customers well. So it all filters down. So
well, like we're really big on like, if you are like, if we need to have a talk with somebody or like something's not going the way that it's supposed to, you sure as hell don't pull them in the middle of a shift. Like you don't pull somebody in the middle of a shift and go have a hard talk with them. Like that's not a good idea. Or like if it's really something we have to do, we have the expectation that shift can be covered already. Like we're not gonna, you know, give somebody some hard talking to and then be like, all right, go on back out there. Yeah. Like go take 30 more customers today and be super chipper and like have a great time. Where it's like, we all have to like learn from mistakes that we've done in the past of like, all right, if we're going to have a talk, it's going to be, you know, at the end of a shift or when they're not working or something like that. Cause we just can't have an expectation that they're just going to be able to brush something that, you know, even if it's not overly negative, it's still never fun. And it's like, you've got to have some kind of be conscious of like where this person is and like having an expectation of them to be able to handle the rest of their duties in a positive way.
Right. So obviously, even though we haven't gotten to know you guys, we know you a little better now. But yeah, the way the members are treated and the coaches are treating the members, I think, is a testament to how you guys run the business overall. So
we're kind of a little different. Like we're not really the rah type of coaches either. We're kind of like take jabs at each other. The members, you know, a lot of members are all our friends. So we kind of sometimes have to be careful that we're not too aggressive with our jabbing at the members.
There's a balance.
Yes. Yeah. It's a tough balance.
We try and do that ourselves as well. We like to have a little fun. Like it can make it a really fun environment if you can be a little sarcastic with the people you work with. Exactly. But it can get out of hand. That's for sure.
We went to we had that big fitness festival down at the boathouse a few weeks a month ago, and I was just kind of watching all the other coaches kind of coach and kind of all the other gyms, and then Natalie got up there and she was like jabbing one of our members, and it was just like so different than all the other kind of gyms that I was watching.
Well, could you imagine if you guys felt like you had to be that rah type of coaching? Like, how well would you do with that?
It'd be so bad.
Not good. I would do something else.
What are you talking about? You could do it.
If we had to wear a microphone and talk and be chipper and all that, it would be so hard.
Right.
I've seen some of those coaches. I honestly envy them a little bit, and just their ability to be at 5 a.m., get up there and just start and just be in the best mood ever and like high-fiving everybody. I'm like, I've never been able to do anything close to that at 5 a.m.
I don't know how they can do that.
Yeah.
Natalie's the closest that we have at that.
For sure.
And she's done like Beachbody, and she's done some stuff in college to learn that skill. We don't have that skill.
She seems like that's kind of her personality is very outgoing, very excited. At least that's what I guess.
Without
sure.
doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit more natural then.
Oh yeah.
It would definitely come off fake if we did it.
Yeah. but then she'll get a little bit hot and we have to calm her down a little bit. That same kind of intensity goes into madness too.
I think you're great, Natalie.
I think you're crazy.
Natalie, if you're watching, we know who you're going to be having a conversation with. Guys, we are getting pretty close to 4:00. And I know Thomas is going to have to dip on us. So it's been pretty close to 2 hours. I don't know if it feels like that or not.
Goes by quick.
It did. Yep.
Brice is like, I've been suffering through.
No,
this
is great.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to cover or touch on? I'd say at least let people know if they're interested in joining the gym or just checking it out.
I think the foundation, we didn't really talk about the foundation.
Oh, the KODA Foundation?
Yeah, we do the CrossFit Open. We do kind of our own KODA Open.
Okay.
And then all that money goes into our foundation.
Okay.
So we do the CrossFit Open, but then a lot of our members sign up for our own Open. That way the money's going. That way we can send the money to the community.
Yeah, we do it for different stuff, usually under wraps and don't really talk about it. But when we have any kind of, bad stuff that happens to people out in the community, we can actually put some money towards it. So we have a KODA nonprofit that's set up for that specifically.
Yeah. And I've seen you guys do a number of fundraisers in the past.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to have a whole foundation specifically for it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody needs something, we can just write them a check instead of having to, try to raise money. We kind of already have it in there and said, here's meet your deductible for what happened. Stuff
Yeah. That's honestly really smart because we usually we'll pick different charities. T-shirts is a big one for us on fundraisers, but doing something where you have the funds already, that's just prepared.
Right.
That way, you don't have to wait, several weeks for them to be able to cover bills or whatever they need to.
Yeah.
So.
We have Ignacio takes care of all that, does all that for us. Like we were having a toy drive for our Christmas party. So now he's going to go hand out a bunch of toys.
That's super
awesome.
cool.
This next week.
Yeah. We've gotten to know him in the store a decent amount. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I mean, he is a hard worker. Nacho.
It seems like it.
Is always looking for new ways to be a hand, to help out, like just constantly, trying to have that edge.
Yeah. I think he's even been helpful towards us as well. Like anything that we need, or like if we're at an event, like if I see him at like a CrossFit event, he'll stop by the booth and ask if we need anything. It's like, Nacho, you have like your camera and your own job, man. Like, we got it, man. Like I think he helped Ryan, our media guy, quite a bit out because Ryan started as just an employee and has gotten more and more involved with the camera and our social media and everything. And at one point, I think it was with video or something along those lines, he reached out to Nacho, and Nacho could not be more excited to just help out for free.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Huge shout out to him. Is there anything else you guys would like to cover before we wrap up? Anything else we'd like to?
I mean, yeah, just, we already talked about the adventure challenge, inviting anybody that wants to get in on it.
Yes.
To please do it with us. We, any local owners or anybody that runs the competitions, reaching out and coming to that creation workshop. And then we have the CDP course for any local coaches and really even non-local coaches. We've done it with people out in Louisiana and Texas and all over that are getting into that 12-week course that just kind of want to see what the KODA system is like. To please reach out and I can get them plugged in also.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Want to make fun of Kaylin anymore?
No.
She's the sweetest.
Yeah.
I have her. I think we implemented a rule that you guys started of not letting Kaylin get on a ladder. My joke is that you guys started that, right?
I don't remember now. I don't like to get on the ladder either. Brice is in charge of the ladders.
Jared doesn't get on the ladder.
Yeah.
Okay. I think she mentioned she wasn't allowed to get on the ladder. I was like, yeah, you're going to need to get your ladder certification if you're going to be jumping on one here too.
I think anyone who Jared cares about doesn't get to get on the ladder.
That's a good thing then. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being on the podcast today, coming and hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everybody listening enjoyed it as well. And thank you so much for letting us as Triad be a part of your realm of the fitness community. Obviously, you guys are hugely influential and a big portion of just the general Oklahoma City fitness community is part of KODA. So letting us come out to events, letting us come by the gym and just be involved has been massive for our success because we didn't have the best start and just being able to be involved is what kept us alive. And you guys were massive for that and wanted to thank you guys in person for that. So
yeah, y'all are definitely filling a niche that needs to be filled. So we like having y'all around too. We appreciate it.
Appreciate that. We're doing our best.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thomas, you got anything?
I don't. That's all I got.
All right.
All right.
This was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Appreciate it. One more time. Thank you guys for joining and thank you everybody for listening.
All right. Do you know what episode this is?
34. No, 35.
I would be guessing. I feel like at this point.
I'm pretty sure it's 35.
35 sounds right.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm going to grab a quick picture.
Yeah. And then we'll need to do the picture after. But
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys.